Hi, my name is Kirthi and I'm an alcoholic. I think 30 years ago, I was maybe 30 years. I'm not sure now. I think I was young then. I have everybody has a story. My story is a bit strange. I came from a home of what they call Brahmins. You could call them Tibetans. They were vegans, and my mother had a master's in astrology, and my father was a school principal, and so there was no way that I couldn't complain about getting a good education. And I think when I was 10 years old, in my maths exams, I did so well that they put me up in front of the whole school in those days, and they said, this boy one day will become something. I think maybe they referred to as a doctor or a lawyer, something like that. I didn't know I'm going to be a member of AA. My qualification. Also at that age, one day we were coming from school and an SABC truck, sometimes they capsized. And here were all these beer bottles broken, and everybody found the smell terrible. And for some reason or the other, I liked the smell. And they said, why don't you move across the road? And I said, look, I seem to be enjoying the smell. And when nobody looked, I put my finger in there and licked the beer on my tongue. And here starts my journey as an alcoholic. I think because of the strict type of the culture I lived in, I always grew up with a thing called fear. And this fear, because I always wanted to do the right things, so fear was there, and I did not know how to handle this fear anymore. I then became also with fear a very timid person. And one day a friend of mine, I was sitting in a park like this, and a friend of mine said, listen, there is a party with a smart woman, and you need to come. And I said, what, let's go. He said, I went to the party and I was a wallflower, I couldn't dance. There was something wrong with my legs, couldn't move. I was very timid, and my friend said, here is a bottle of Amstel Lager. And it was so cold and chill, I drank it. And after that I had another one, and another one, and I could dance. And I think I danced with every girl on that party. But the main thing that I found there was that my fear had disappeared. My anxiety had disappeared. My timidness had disappeared. I could now talk to people. And so I thought, God, you have now shown me the magic potion to all my illnesses. So every morning when I went to work, I had a cold beer. Sometimes two, if there was a lot of work to do at work. Come lunchtime, the beers wore off, I had to have another 2 beers. But I enjoyed this routine because I never went back into fear. Or neither was I timid. Alcohol then became part of my life. It was everything. My father saw that my school marks were dropping. He saw that there was a personality change in me. By now they already realized I'm drinking a lot. And I was coming home drunk, sometimes very drunk. But in all this time, I enjoyed drinking. I loved it. I once said to my parents, I don't know, we alcoholics, we are masters in lying. I said I went to the hospital and they said there might be a tumor in my stomach and I might die. And that is the reason I am drinking. And everybody felt me sorry and they were around me and okay. So every time I came drunk, it was fine. And in my house, a lot of Tibetan monks used to come because of my father's qualification and so forth. And they used to fast and sit and not drink water. But I knew on a Tuesday night they are going to break their fast. And I would be so drunk, I would come with a barrel of Kentucky. And you know, Kentucky Fried Chicken, and say, eat, don't be. And these people don't eat anything of a meat nature. And I said to my father, your son is obsessed. There's something wrong with your son. There's a devil in him. There's something in him. Send him to India. And there we will reform this man. And my father said, are you sure? And they said, yes, put him on a plane. When I left here, was it Qantas? Yes. I was so drunk, and in the 80s and the 90s, there was this Palestine thing, and I don't know. But I did know people used to scream in my street, Viva Palestine. So I screamed, Viva Palestine in the plane. And I didn't know I am now judged as a terrorist. The minute I was so drunk, the minute we landed in Mauritius, I was taken to a jail. At first they spoke to me in French, they realized this man don't know French. And they were asking me, where do you intend bombing, where, what. Carried on and carried on. And all I wanted was a beer. What I learned here with other alcoholics, it is called bablas. And then the other detective came in and he said, this man is a drunkard. Let him go. And I then went into another plane, it was Air India, whatever. I started to drink again. And I was drunk in the same plane. People who were sitting with me moved away, they were scared. Not because I was a Palestinian, but because I was so drunk. They couldn't bear sitting with me. And I arrived here in India, and some man came and showed me, he said, this is all your land. I said, my land? He said, yes, it belongs to you, it's under your name, your great-grandfather left it for you. I said, what do you do in this land? Because my plan was to plant dacha. First thing I know, where I came from, we plant dacha. He said, no, you do sugar cane there. And there I could not find no beer, no whiskey. So these guys were drinking something called Gawain. It's a very strong drink of alcohol. And I joined these guys, and we drank. And all those people who drank with me were my laborers. They were supposed to plant the sugar cane and so forth. They did no work. And I don't know, somebody there sent a telegram, please call your son back to South Africa. Because he's a disgrace to this village. He's made all the laborers drunk, he's made himself drunk. And here I was back in South Africa. And then I think a little while after all this, my parents gave up hope on me. The other 3 children of theirs wanted me out of the house because they were all studying, and they said, this man disturbs us when he comes home. He's drunk. He either hits us, or he breaks the crockery, or he becomes violent. Sometimes when he comes, he's just singing happy and he goes to sleep. But sometimes he's extremely violent. We cannot bear this anymore. I think my father, who loved me a lot, didn't want this to happen. And later I realized wherever I went, I started getting a very bad reputation because I enjoyed fighting. I was so thin then, but I enjoyed fighting. I don't know what was there with alcohol and fighting, but it was the Dr. Jekyll and Hyde personality of mine. And being who I am, because when I'm sober, I'm very quiet. And I thought, this alcohol, I should stop it. The monks couldn't help me. Nobody could. I have to find a solution. My father, who was a man who used to walk around with me, we used to look for all these sangomas. We used to go to Alexandra, we used to go to Lenasia, wherever we found that there was hope. Both this time it was not only my father, but it was me as well. Alcohol now destroyed me. I was totally finished. At the age of 32, I was a chronic alcoholic. When I went into the bar, the barman said to me, what is wrong with you? You take 90 Panados. And the ambulance come and I'm bleeding from my mouth. And there was a law, you have to see a psychologist. And I said to the psychologist, this is my problem. My girlfriend left me and this and that and that. And she said to me, listen, she was a tall German woman, and she said, listen, you only have one problem. You have an addiction. Stop drinking alcohol. And I thought she doesn't understand all my problems. And my father and me were my father also was an author. He wrote about 9 to 10 books. Imagine a man who was an author who won some awards, I think was it in England? Yes. He used to go with me in the car looking for these sangomas. We used to go there, some used to throw beads, some used to give us water, some give salt, sometimes it's pink salt, bath with it. I fucking bath with the whole thing, but I still don't come right. Man, I don't know what to do. What do we do? And one day, I just gave up. I was sitting in the bedroom, and in those days there used to be a column in the Star newspaper called The Tonight. It was where you could watch for movies. And I watched, I was looking for a nice movie, and I saw suddenly, I think, a very small notice say, if you want to stop drinking, call Alcoholics Anonymous. And it was just a number, nothing else. And I called this number, and there was a English lady, and her accent, she was actually from northern England, so I couldn't even understand. But what I understood what she said was, sit there, don't go out of your house and drink coffee. 2 people will come and see you tonight. And I waited. And I told my father, this is what has happened. He said, we must write. And here came these 2 old men. By the way, they're no longer around, and they gone to the big meeting. And they told my father not to worry. And my father said, but we've been trying everything. They said, don't worry. And they took me to my first meeting, and it was a church. And there was a Muslim guy with me also drinking. He said, I'm not going in there because they're going to convert me. I said to him, listen, brother, even if they convert us, let's go. If they can help us stop drinking, let's convert to Christianity. I don't care. And he walked away. He never came back. I walked in. And to my surprise, I saw so many people like you sitting there. One was sharing, the other one was sharing. People were standing up and commenting, and I thought, but this is exactly what I do. The man who was sharing there, does exactly what I do. And I thought, this is the right place for me. And they then took me in the old days, they took me for 90 meetings in 90 days. And I went, and I went. And after 90 days, they left me. And they told me, I kind of learned step 1 there, that I'm powerless over alcohol. And I started to use that in my work, in all affairs. And I started to stay sober. I started to get sober. And my first sponsor was a lady. She was a very pretty lady. She was the very same lady that was on the phone. So, I like pretty women. That was, I would call today also a difficult character. So, she was teaching me. Look, a big book, page 63, for your defect of fear. For this, look this, look this, look this. We started getting better, better. I celebrated my first year. My father was there. And guess what? Who was there? Guess what? 4 Tibetan monks were there. 4 there. They couldn't understand, they don't understand English yet, but they understood that these people have taken the devil away from them. That's what they understood. And I carried on with my life. 1 year, 2 years, 3, 4, 5, whatever it is. There were a lot of difficulties because I had to confront my anxiety. I'm in sobriety now. But I went, AA said, you can go to places where you need help. And I went. They said, you're sober, you can go see a psychologist, you can go to an anxiety group or whatever you want to do. And life started to get better. I don't know, I met a lot of people along the road. I met Gibson, and we became very close friends. I've met many other people. I was working here trying to help the patients who had a lot of problems, and I got a bit ill, and I had to stop working, and so all I want to say to people who are struggling is this program works. I don't have much more to go into detail with you, which step I did and what, but you can, once you join this program, you can yourself come and find out that, hey brother, this, that I got an emotion, here's the solution to my emotion. You see, that's if we stick around. Because if I didn't stick around, I can promise you I would have been dead. Dead long time. Because some gangsters wanted to shoot me in a bar and you understand? I would have been dead. This program saved my life. And I don't know how long am I going to live, but I can promise you one thing. I'm going to live sober. I'm going to die sober. Because I have confronted so many problems in my life. Today it seems like problems have nothing to do with alcohol, which is a normal human living way. Other human beings are doing it. What the hell do I have to run for alcohol? No. So I've learned in 30 years that you can do that. Anyway, I think I'm talking too much here. But thank you, everybody.